This is the title poem of A Town for Sadness. Some women would remember the rain pelting the cobblestones of a French city without consequences, like the skitter of fingernails across a lover's back in the unfamiliar iron bed, the narrow mattress stripped clean of memory, white as dawn. All those times when daring to do a thing meant more than the very feeling. Others would picture the steam afterwards, rising from shared cups of bitter chocolate, how it left curls of mist like soft locks of hair on the windows closed against winter. These women would hold themselves later, rubbing their arms as if before a fire, wrapped in the sweet regret of evaporated warmth. And there are others, not to be forgotten, who already know what they could learn from the taste and tangle of pure bodies, the aching places salt slippery as Chinese mushrooms, rubbed skinless like crushed red berries. The roses in the drained bottle are already bowing, bending, it seems, under a thin shaft of light, red petals edged with a brown craquelure like tendrils of hair around the folded center. Such last women travel or don't travel. Night turns into day each time. There may be a warm head on the pillow beside them, on a separate pillow. No one can stop them from dying with their secret. Life's all about knowing the kind of loss you have a talent for. This next poem I wrote after it was like the week before Adam and I got married back in 1998, and we were walking around my old neighborhood on the Lower East Side, and we saw this barbed wire fence around a vacant lot that had these flowers growing around the barbed wire, and it seemed like a perfect image for some of the strife we had gone through to get to where we were to be together. So I wrote this poem on the fence. White morning glories grow on the barbed wire, the vines following the toothed metal's generous loops atop the chain link fence that divides the bare lot from the half-empty street. You and I are the only people walking in this direction. Everyone else seems to be on the other side. I say everyone, but who are they? Save the old man, making his slow way to the bagel shop which is closed. Or the young mother, candy stick spandex legs, who perpetually demands, "Don't you know the right way to behave?" Yellow leaves flicker against a white sky, the light diffuse, its source hidden. For once, we've set out without plans, stripped sensitive to the wind's changes. No guide but our sense of the difference between whims and useful desires. A vigorous mutt, detached from its master, sniffs at the rough brown tree that grew up against the fence and through it, subsumed the metal in a pregnant bulge of wood. These flowering vines wrapped so tight around the barbed wire that they seem to have gray thorns. A year before today, you asked me to unite us and break apart the past. But everyone who owned us first grasps us like a steering wheel down a street too fast, twisting back and forth. So many hands have worn away and smoothed this leaning tree's belly till it's soft as flesh and sensitive as conscience. Up the street, the bulldozer tears the old land away, and the steamroller crushes and mends, an ordinary process, like forgiveness. When we are bound together, let this dangerous coil of flowers be my circlet, this your painful crown. Now, when I was in college, I was longing for two things. I was longing for God, and I was longing to get married. And as usual, the transcendent and the erotic got pretty mixed up with one another. And this is the theme of my poetry, and as you'll find also of Charlie's as well. And this is one of the poems I wrote during that period of longing. This way to hear a lecture about God. When the dry snow is blown up in gusts like smoke driven by wind across the yard, who could look at a blaze so white as to leave this trace, brighter than the blinding spear of sunlit ice? We turn from that unimaginable fire, the way we navigate through each hour, past each other, like slips of paper that pass in the night. I am the eclipse I create in your vision, or the sudden noise of wind in your ears that clouds out the lecturer's voice when he talks about God in a room with no windows. The old joke went, everyone chose to hear the lecture. No one dared peer through the door marked God, or stand in pairs outside the dilemma, looking into each other's faces. Passionate and prosaic as roses is this whole discussion, and its points inflict wounds that will have as little effect, for nothing gets to the heart of this, surely not words, which are only the wrists that we tense to wring dry the wet cloths of each other's arguments. I lay in the bath while the water grew cold, trying to pray that a blessed spirit would descend like the thrust of water from the shower. I wanted to levitate or bleed once, just to be seen. To whom did I need to be real? A singular mark in God's eye, or any eye, in the empty theatrical dark, where I might have looked up and gone blind for a moment beneath the spotlight of my mind.